Now consider this condition. Under this condition, what you can say, it is a box-like structure, one cell, three-dimensional view. So if it divides in this plane, it may divide in this plane, and it may divide in another plane, is this plane. Okay, under this condition, what will happen? To check in all the three plane, it is dividing, no? So it will increase in all the three direction. So it will form mass meristem. What type of meristem it will form? It will form mass meristem, right? Is this clear? So it will form mass meristem. So we can write this is mass meristem. From mass meristem, what originates? Ground tissue, cortex, pericycle, teeth, etc. originates from mass meristem. I think this is clear. Hello. Have you drawn this? Have you drawn this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So based on plane of division, we can divide them in this three times. Okay, and try to remember the examples. Next to check. If it is a permanent cell, that means in permanent cell, what again based on position, based on origin also we have discussed. A meristem may be primary meristem, a meristem may be secondary meristem. Yes. Hidayat, is it your first class with me?
Yeah, হয় স্যার। স্যার আমি আসামিস মিডিয়ামের হয়।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, তুমি হেৰি হল লাষ্ট ক্লাস তোমাক খুদতে তুমি গুচি গলা গেলে?
স্যার মানে বেলেগ এজন ওপেন কৰিছিল, মানে মোৰ অসুবিধা আছিল যে অলপ সেইকাৰণে কৰা নাই। মই ভাবি আছো ক্লাছটো চলি আছে, বেলেগ এজনক দেখুৱাব লাগি চাব গৈছিল, সেইকাৰণে দেখুৱাইছিলো।
আচ্ছা, তো তুমি কেতিয়া জয়েন কৰিছা?
স্যার 5 মিনিট মান হল এতিয়া জয়েন কৰিছো।
না না, এইটো নহয়, আমাৰ এইটো প্ৰগ্ৰাম ক্ৰেশ কোৰ্স কেতিয়া জয়েন কৰিছা?
স্যার টেস্ট কোর্সটো মই আৰু এসপ্তাহ আগত জয়েন কৰিছিলো। 15 দিন মান হল, পাছত মোৰ জ্বৰ আছিল সেইকাৰণে।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে। এন্ড জাদিদ আলম।
Yes, sir.
এইটো তোমাৰ ফার্স্ট ক্লাস মোৰ লগত?
জি স্যার।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, ক্লাস কন্টিনিউ কৰা আৰু কিবা প্ৰবলেম হলে সুধিবা। যদি মই তো ইংলিশত কৈ থাকো ক্লাছত, কিন্তু ক্লাছত যদি তোমাৰ কিবা বুজি পাওতে প্ৰবলেম হয় মোক লগে লগে সুধিবা। আৰু মোৰ ইংলিশটো একদম পানীৰ নিচিনা, ঠিক আছে? একদম টাফ নোপোৱা, আৰু টাফ পালে মোক সুধিবা, মই অসমীয়াত কৈ দিম। একো প্ৰবলেম
হয়, মানে অলপ প্ৰবলেম হয় আৰু অসমীয়াৰ।
একদম প্ৰবলেম নহব, তুমি কন্টিনিউ কৰি থাকা। য'ত প্ৰবলেম হ'ব, যেতিয়া বুজি নোপোৱা মোক সুধিবা, মই আকৌ বুজাই দিম। ঠিক আছে? এতিয়া টাৰ্মিনলজিজ কিছুমান তুমি মনত ৰাখিবা, যেনেকে পাৰ্মানেন্ট টিস্যু, ইয়াৰ অসমীয়াটো মই ক'ব নোৱাৰিম। সিম্পল টিস্যু, ইয়াৰ অসমীয়াটো মই ক'ব নোৱাৰিম। বুজি পাইছা নে নাই? সেই টাৰ্মছখিনি মই অসমীয়াত ট্ৰান্সলেট কৰিব নোৱাৰিম, কিন্তু বাকি মই কনচেপ্টটো বুজাই দিব পাৰিম। ঠিক আছে? মোৰ কাৰণে সেইকেইটা টাৰ্ম বিচাৰি পোৱাটো বহুত বেছি টান। আচ্ছা, now check it here. If it is permanent tissue, permanent tissue মানে কি? যেটো সেলত সেল ডিভিশনটো কমপ্লিটলি বন্ধ হৈ গল, and these are specialized. বুজি পাইছা না নাই? স্পেশালাইজড কিবা এটা স্পেশাল টাস্ক লৈ লৈছে, যেনেকে এপিডার্মিসের ফাংশন কি? To provide protection. Is this clear? Epidermis, main function of epidermis is to provide protection. So it is not dividing, rather it is providing protection. So like that, permanent tissue, it may be simple permanent tissue, right? Permanent tissue. If it is a simple permanent tissue, what does it mean by simple permanent tissue? They are made up of one kind of cells performing similar functions. They are made up of one kind of cells performing similar functions. Okay, right? Monot thakibo. So this is simple permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue are maybe of different types. It may be ki hobo pare?
Parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma.
It may be parenchyma. It may be collenchyma. It may be
Sclerenchyma.
sclerenchyma. SCLERENCHY. Now, if it is a parenchyma, what is the characteristics of parenchymatous cells? These are isodiametric, okay, spherical, okay, then oval or polygonal, intercellular space, intercellular, present or absent? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Intercellular space, present or absent?
Sir, present.
Usually present, may be absent. Okay, may be absent also. Say epidermis, cells of epidermis. তাতে তোমার intercellular space তো না থাকে. If it is epidermal cell, you cannot find intercellular spaces because these cells are tightly compact. Okay, so intercellular space you will not find. That means what you may find, may not find. Both are usually present. Okay, and these cells are living or not? Living cells. Okay, and what we can say, their cell wall is made up of what? With
sir,
what?
so chapter নাম to কি?
Anatomy রে. With thin cell wall made of cellulose, right? Is this clear? What is the main function of this parenchyma? Bipasha? What is the main function of parenchyma?
Sir, photosynthesis, storage, secretion.
Most importantly, storage. Okay, most important is storage. Some may perform photosynthesis. Okay, very good. Means, see, storage means what? Basically food and water. Give me 1 minute, I'm coming. Just a minute. So what you find, main function is storage. It may be storage of food or maybe water. Now see, some of them may be parenchyma. Okay, what is parenchyma? They store air, right? If they store air, they are called parenchyma, and they specifically helps in providing buoyancy, or you can say they helps in floating. Okay. Okay. Another point you can say, some more of them may have uh, green coloration, and so these are called chlorine chyma. Okay, so these are green photosynthetic. So if photosynthetic, they are performing photosynthesis. Some of them are called idioblast. Have you heard about them? Idioblast. What are idioblast? They store waste. Okay, waste materials, right? Next you will find और क्या है, prosenchyma. Have you heard about prosenchyma? Prosenchyma have tapering end. Okay, prosenchyma have tapering end. So what is tapering end? What is tapering end? Say this is a parenchyma. It is having end part is pointed. Okay, end part is pointed. So these are called tapering end. Is this clear? So those parenchyma are known as what? Prosenchyma. Can you remember? Next you write collenchyma. When you say collenchyma, what is the most important point of collenchyma? We find, consider this is a cell, this is another cell. Say these are two cells, and this is cell wall basically we say. Then this is this condition is checked. This is one cell. This is the nucleus. Okay, so this portion is what? Outermost layer is primary wall. Okay, outermost layer is primary wall, and then there occurs some deposition of waste material, and it forms secondary wall. Is this clear? Hello. So the deposition is occurring, and it is forming what? Secondary wall. Now in the deposition you check, in this portion how much deposition has occurred, and in this portion how much deposition has occurred. In the corner deposition is more or not? Hello.
Yes, sir.
In the corner deposition is more. So what does it mean? If deposition is more in corner, that deposition is called angular deposition, right? So what is deposited there? There will be cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, those things gets deposited. Now you check this corner. If it occurs a smooth deposition, it will go like this. And under that condition, it should form an intercellular space. But here in the corner, there is more deposition. So ultimately what is happening? In this corner, because of more deposition, and that is called angular deposition, we find intercellular space is not found. Is this clear? So this is the characteristics of this which one? This collenchyma cells, they have angular deposition. Is this clear? Can you remember? So what is getting deposited here? Cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, etc. Mainly these three gets deposited. Can you remember?
Yes, sir.
Can you find lignin? Can you find lignin in the as a depository materials? Lignin is never found, remember, in collenchyma. This is a very important question. If we find lignin is getting deposited, then it is no more a parenchyma. Collenchyma. Then this is sclerenchyma. Is this clear? Lignin never gets deposited in where? Collenchyma. Right? Can you remember? Next is sclerenchyma. What is sclerenchyma? What is the function of collenchyma? Can you tell me what is the main function of collenchyma? Provide mechanical support, okay, flexibility and elasticity. Okay, another important point, remember, in monocot, collenchyma are not found. Can you remember? Hello. Once this question has been asked, question is what? Betel tree. Betel tree, they often bend and touches the ground during cyclone. Is not it? Almost touches the ground, but still they do not break. Okay. In case of betel tree, what we see? Betel tree, they may grow and become bent and almost touches the ground, but still we do not find that the tree breaks. Which particular tissue is responsible for that? Hello. What will be the answer? Chandrika. Chandrika. Manprita is saying it's collenchyma. Nandita. Ragini. Jaldi batao. Is it collenchyma? Manprita, this particular plant is monocot or dicot?
Oh, yes, sir. It is monocot.
Monocot. So what is the answer?
Sclerenchyma.
So this is a common mistake students do. Remember, very careful. So the betel tree is a monocot. So what is your answer? It was the answer of the majority of the students on that particular year. Okay. So remember, this is a monocot, and in monocot, sclerenchyma is never, collenchyma is not found. Okay. So answer is sclerenchyma, right? Okay, बहुत हो गया. Next is what? Next is sclerenchyma. হেদায়ত বুঝি পাইছা?
নাই স্যার।
কি বুঝি পোৱা নাই? মনোকটত কি না থাকে? collenchyma না থাকে. তো প্ল্যান্ট যে তোমার এটার নাম কি? betel nut প্ল্যান্ট তোমার কি হয়? এনেকে ব্যান্ড হয়ে যায় না? betel nut মানে কি? তামুল গছ. তামুল গছ এনেকে ব্যান্ড হয়ে একদম ধুমুহা দিলে প্রায় লাগি যায় ন মাটিত, কিন্তু ভাঙি নাযায় ন প্ল্যান্ট পটককে. তো ভাঙি যে না যায় কিহৰ কাৰণে? কোনটো টিস্যুৰ কাৰণে? দিস ইজ ফর
কারণে।
কিহৰ কাৰণে? দিস ইজ ফর sclerenchymatous টিস্যু. ঠিক আছে? sclerenchymatous টিস্যু প্রেজেন্ট হলে তাতে ভাঙি না যায়. Next to check. Next is given collenchyma. Collenchyma we have discussed. Next, third C type is what? Sclerenchyma. If it is a sclerenchyma, in sclerenchyma you will find lignin gets deposited. When lignin gets deposited, then what will happen? Imagine these are lignin. Okay. When lignin gets deposited, lignin is a very sticky material. So when lignin deposits, then the cell-to-cell connection, plasmodesmatal connection is present or not within cell? Manprita, there is plasmodesmatal connection, right? So when lignin gets deposited, the cell loses all the connection. Okay. And what will happen under that condition? this cell, when it loses all the connection, then it will not find any food material nor gases, and waste material will also accumulate. So under that condition, this cell will simply die. Is this clear? So once the cell died completely, and then what will happen? Then you will find the lignin starts becoming drying up. When lignin dries up, then this particular cell wall, in the cell wall you'll find, because of dried lignin, it forms some pore. Okay, and this cell now has become completely empty. Is this clear? This cell now has become completely empty. Okay, right? Are you getting my point? So when this cell will become completely empty, and you are having what? Some pores. Okay, you are having some pores. So under that condition, we say, okay, it will be like this. So under that condition, what we can say, this cell is a complete dead cell. Okay, it is a dead cell, and inside is completely hollow, and it is having pit connectivity. Is this clear? So these are called pit. Is this clear? This point is clear or not?
স্যার কুহটো একেবারে মরে যায়
কোষটো একেবারে মরে যাব। And this connection is called this. Here in the secondary wall there will be some pore or hollow structure, so that is called pit. Okay, in this way pits will be formed. Okay, in the sclerenchyma. So sclerenchyma are dead cells. What is the main function of sclerenchyma? What is the main function of sclerenchyma?
Sir, provides mechanical support.
Provides mechanical support. And see, in case of sclerenchyma, lignin is found. Okay, and here along with cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, lignin is found. Okay, so along with cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, lignin is also deposited, and as a result, the cell becomes ultimately it will die, and it provides only mechanical support. So main function is to provide mechanical support. Now sclerenchyma cells are of two types. Okay, what are the types? Sclerenchyma cells are of two types. One, if it is a cell, then these are called sclerites. Okay, sclerenchyma cells are called sclerites, or some may form fiber, then these are called fiber. So sclerenchyma cells and sclerenchyma fibers. So two types, two categories you are having. So in case of sclerenchyma cell, again you have different category. You have, I think you have seen certain fruit like pear, guava. In pear, guava, what happens? The grittiness of that fruit is due to the presence of the sclerenchyma. বুজি পাইছা? মন থাকিব। গ্ৰিটিনেছ মানে কি? এই খোৱাৰ সময়ত তুমি চাবাচোন, এইকেইটা অলপ টাফ ন বস্তুটো, আৰু অলপ দানা দানা যেন লাগে। Yes, জদিদ, হেদায়ত, বুজি পাইছানে? So এই যে দানা দানা কিটা লাগে যে, এইটো কিয় কাৰণে? এই sclerenchyma থকাৰ কাৰণে, এই sclerenchyma cell থকাৰ কাৰণে। So grittiness in pear and guava is due to the presence of sclerenchyma. Is this clear? Sclerenchyma fiber হলে তাতে কি হবো? Long tapering মানে pointed, এনেকে long tapering cell কিছুমান develop কৰিব। Okay, তাতে কোনো cell wall থাকে না, sorry, nucleus না থাকে। Cell is a dead cell. Dead cell is a dead cell. You can find some pit. Okay, pit on the secondary wall, and these cells basically provide mechanical support. Okay, so remember, where do you find sclerenchyma cells? The sclerenchyma fibers are present in the hypodermis of monocot stem. Okay, where you can write it down. Fibers are present. hypodermis of monocot stem মন থাকিব and ক'ত থাকিব পাৰে in pericycle of many dicot okay in pericycle of many dicot and in secondary wood in secondary wood and in vascular bundle sheath in monocot stem. So these are certain locations where we find serenchymatous tissues, right? Can you remember? Okay. What is the main function? Yes. Nikumani. Nikumani. তুমি লিখি দিয়া না মই শুনা নাই ভয়েসটো আহা নাই ভালকে নিকুমনি একোৱে আহা নাই আৱাজ তুমি লিখি দিয়া চ্যাট বক্স দেখা পাইছা তাতে চ্যাট বক্সত লিখি দিয়া main function is what? Main function of the serenchyma is to provide mechanical strength. Okay, so remember main function is to provide mechanical strength. I think this much portion is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Nikumani kiba doubt ase? No. Now come to the complex tissues. Complex tissues in the last class already we have categorized and a schematic diagram we have prepared, right? So I told you complex tissues broadly we have categorized into xylem and phloem. If you are asked that who has given the term xylem and phloem, xylem and phloem terms are given by Nageli. Mon thakibo xylem and phloem terms are given by Nageli. Mon thakibo
Yes, sir.
so xylem is the chief water conducting tissues that we know. Okay, xylem is the chief water conducting tissue. Okay, and xylem we can categorize xylem into what? See, protoxylem, metaxylem, definitely we have categorized. So if a xylem is early formed, then we say it is a protoxylem. If a xylem is later formed, then this is called metaxylem. These are wider. Protoxylem, just write one point. Protoxylem are older but less matured and lack sclerenchymatous fiber, right? Metaxylem are later formed but more matured. বুজি পালা মনত থাকিব next check we find in xylem tracheids we'll discuss no tracheids then we find vessels then we find wood or xylem parenchyma
স্যার
xylem fiber কোৱা
স্যার এক নম্বৰ যেটো দিছে এটো অসমীয়াত অলপ কৈ দিয়কচোন
ট্ৰেকাইডক কি বুলি কয় অসমীয়াত
প্ৰটোজাইলেম যেটো
নাই নাই প্ৰটোজাইলেম মেটাজাইলেম নহয় প্ৰটোজাইলেম মানে এতিয়া তোমাৰ এইটো টাৰ্মিনোলজি মই একদমেই নাজানো টাৰ্মিনোলজি এইটোত মই এইটো মুহূৰ্তত তোমাক একদমেই হেল্প কৰিব পৰা নাই মোৰ হাতত অসমীয়া কিতাপো নাই যে মই চাই দিম তোমাক
হ'ব স্যার
তোমাক মই তুমি এটা কাম কৰিবা তোমাক তুমি এইটো ক্লাছৰ পিছত এবাৰ ফোন কৰিবা মোক
হ'ব স্যার
ঠিক আছে তুমি এবাৰ ফোন কৰিবা যদি তো মই কিবা এটা প্ৰসেস উলিয়াম কেলে টাৰ্মিনোলজি যদি অলপো নাজানা এইটো তোমাৰ পিছত গৈও প্ৰবলেম হ'ব তোমাৰ টাৰ্মিনোলজি জানিবই লাগিব বুজি পাইছা নে নাই
হয় স্যার
টাৰ্মিনোলজি জনাটো খুবেই দৰকাৰ আৰু তোমাৰ অসমীয়া কিতাপত তুমি মই কোৱা ৱাৰ্ডখিনি মই এনেও তোমাক কিবা অলপ হলেও পঠাই দিম তো তুমি মই কোৱা কথাখিনি একদম যিখিনি টাৰ্মছ তুমি পাই আছা তুমি লিখি লিখি যোৱা মইতো লিখি দি আছো
লিখি গৈ আছো স্যার
লিখি যোৱা এইখিনি কি হ'ব এইখিনি তোমাৰ তাতে পাবা অসমীয়া কিতাপত এই অসমীয়া টাৰ্মটোৰ লগতে ব্ৰেকেটত ইংলিছ টাৰ্মটো দিয়া আছে বুজি পাইছা নে নাই
হয়
ইংলিছ টাৰ্মটো এনেই দি থকা নাই ইংলিছ টাৰ্মটো শিকিবলৈ দিছে সেই টাৰ্মটো শিকিবই লাগিব তুমি ঠিক আছে
হয়
এইটো চোৱা tracheids xylem tracheids vessels then xylem fiber and what xylem parenchyma or wood fiber and wood or xylem parenchyma now what's the basic difference between tracheids and vessels Chandrika can you hear me
Yes, sir.
what is the difference between tracheids and vessel bolo what is your idea what is tracheit and what is vessel just write unicellular imperforated imperforate thick walled thick walled or lignified dead cells they have bordered pits yes বুঝি পেছা acha remember tracheids are present in all the groups of vascular plates okay tracheids are present in all the groups of vascular plates মানে কি in bryophyte pteridophyte gymnosperm angiosperm in all you can find tracheids can you remember where vascular bundles have first originated?
Sir, pteridophyte.
Pteridophytes. Very, very good. Can you find vascular bundle in bryophyte or tracheids in bryophyte?
No, sir.
No, exactly. You cannot find in the bryophyte. Bryophytes are without vasculature. So on pteridophytes onwards, in every member you will find these tracheids are present. But vessels are found only in where? Only in angiosperm. Okay. Do you know any member of gymnosperm where vessels are present? In nettles, which include netam, ephedra, and velucia. Vessels are exceptionally present, right? Can you remember? Vessels are exceptionally present. In 3 families of angiosperm, what is the angiosperm? Winteraceae, Crocodendraceae, and Tetracentraceae. Okay, in these members, vessels are absent. Write it down. Very important. What is xylem fiber? They have highly lignified thickened wall and obliterate central lumen. They may be separate, sorry, they may be septate or aseptate. Septum means partition wall. A partition wall may be present, may not be present. Okay, so remember these are the characteristics of vessel. Sorry, not vessel, xylem fibers. Next is xylem parenchyma, living. See, these are the only living tissues found in xylem. Is this clear? The rest all are dead. Tracheids, vessels, fiber, these are all dead. Okay. So here, what is the main function of xylem parenchyma? Main function is storage. Okay. There are 2 components of xylem parenchyma. Okay. One is vertical component, another is horizontal component. Vertical component and horizontal component. Okay, the horizontal component give rise to what? কি দিয়ে horizontal component এ medullary rays মনত থাকিব xylemor হলে xylem parenchyma phloem হলে phloem parenchyma xylem parenchyma and phloem parenchyma they will form secondary medullary rays. Okay, so medullary rays, if these are present, if more number of medullary rays are present, remember that wood is economically not very important. If less number of medullary rays are present, then that wood is economically more important. Can you tell me what is the logic? Shrayana, can you tell me what is the logic? See, this is the wood. If we cut and if we find there are more number of medullary rays like this. Okay, this is the horizontal component. So if we find more number of medullary rays are there. Medullary rays means what? Manprita, what is medullary rays? Nikumani, nothing but xylem parenchyma or parenchyma. So medullary rays are xylem parenchyma if present in xylem part, phloem parenchyma if present in phloem part, but they are horizontally growing. So the parenchyma cells means what? More parenchyma means more food, right? More food means more weight. Okay, more weight plus more food. It means what? Microbes will prefer to grow there. So you cannot see weight is more. So these are heavier. One point, these are very heavy. Second point is what? Microbes can easily infect or attack. So you cannot use this for preparation of any furniture, and these are brittle. So you cannot give a proper shape. Right? This is this point is clear or not? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So remember, in case of pinus, in gymnosperm, in pinus, less number of medullary rays are there. So these are called pycnoxylic wood. In cycas, more number of medullary rays are present. So these are called menoxylic wood. So menoxylic, pycnoxylic, if more medullary rays are present, these are menoxylic. Bus. Remember? Now check. Next, let us go for phloem. When you say phloem, you will find in phloem how many components again? Like earlier, you may find protoploem, metaploem, right? Protoploem, metaploem. Difference is exactly like that of protoxylem, metaxylem. বুজি পাইছা? Protoploem, metaploem or difference কি হব তেতিয়াহলে কোৱাচোন? Protoploem are more mature, more mature, oh sorry, are older, but less mature. And metaploem are later developed but more mature, just like earlier case. Is this clear? And what is absent? Fibers are absent in protoploem. Okay, so I think you can remember. Okay, you can remember.
Yes, sir.
Next is you'll find sieve tube and companion cells. Sieve tube and companion cells are known as sister cells. Is this clear? Sieve tube and companion cells are known as sister cells. Is this clear? Sieve tube and companion cells are known as sister cells. Why? Because they originate from the same mother cells. Okay, they originate from the same mother cells. Now check it here. Acha, correction sieve tube and companion cells. Now see, what is the primary difference between sieve tube and companion cells? If you find a sieve tube, say this is the tube, no? So the partition wall between two sieve tube, okay, this is open. And this is actually highly porous. The membrane present here is highly porous. Okay, so just like a sieve, so it's a sieve tube. Okay, and companion cells, they are found attached to this sieve cell. So what happens here? The nucleus of the companion cell, it maintains the osmotic potential, osmotic pressure within the sieve tube. Can you remember? Write it down. Very important point. Nucleus of the sieve tube maintain the osmotic pressure within sieve tube. Is this clear? So remember, this is also another very important point. But next is xyloploem parenchyma. Okay. Phloem parenchyma. Living. Main function is storage, right? And absent in monocot. Remember, bus. Most important point. Living. These are living. Main function is what? Storage and absent in monocot. And they are also responsible for formation of medullary rays. Okay. Next is phloem fiber. Phloem is also known as bast. Okay, you can say bast fiber or phloem fiber. Is this clear? So when we say phloem fiber, main function is what? Provide mechanical support. বুঝি পাইছা? Is this clear to all of you? Nikumani clear?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Bipasha,
Yes, sir.
up to this much, no problem?
No, sir.
No. Jadid, Hidayat,
পাইছো অলপ অলপ।
দৌৰিব পাৰিছা তো? ফাৰ্ষ্ট ক্লাছটো মিছ হৈ গ'ল তোমালোকৰ। ফাৰ্ষ্ট ক্লাছটো মিছ কৰিব নালাগিছিল। আচ্ছা, তো হৈ যাব। ৰেষ্ট পাৰ্ট মই আৰু এখন হেল্প কৰিম। এবাৰ এতিয়া মেইন কিতাপৰ লগত মিলাই চালে বুজি পাই যাবা। এইখিনি বস্তু মন কৰিবা যিখিনি মই লিখিছো। ভিডিঅ'টো পঠাই দিব অফিচৰ পৰা, ঠিক আছে? তো যদি তোমাৰ প্ৰব্লেম হৈছে, তুমি আগতে তোমাৰ কিতাপখন এবাৰ পঢ়িবা, লগতে ভিডিঅ'টো লৈ বহিবা। ভিডিঅ' ক্লিপটো চাই চাই মিলাই গ'লে তোমাৰ কিতাপৰ লগত তেতিয়া তোমাৰ আনসাৰ ফাৰ্মকেইটাও পাই যাবা। বুজি পাইছা? এতিয়া আমি টিস্যু চিষ্টেমত যাওঁ। এইখিনিলৈকে হৈ গ'ল আমাৰ। এতিয়া আমি কি কৰিম? টিস্যু চিষ্টেম। When is a tissue system? Plant body consists of three main tissue systems. Okay, remember, three main tissue systems. Kiki, number one is epidermis. When is epidermis or epidermal tissue system? When is epidermal tissue system, that means what? Epidermis is made up of what type of cell? Epidermis is
Sir, parenchyma.
exactly made up of parenchyma. Next point, what we say that in case of epidermis, चलो यहाँ पे पूरा उसको काम करता हूँ। एक मिनट के बाद okay. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir.
This is made up of parenchyma. Now in epidermis, what we find, say it is stem. In case of stem, trichomes, you know,
Yes, sir.
trichomes means hairs. Okay, trichomes means hairs are formed in stem. Okay, trichomes are nothing but modified epidermal cells. Okay, trichomes or stem hairs are nothing but modified epidermal cells. So trichomes are formed in stem, which may be unicellular. Often this question is asked, or multicellular and are modified epidermal cells. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Next, what you can say, you have seen stomata. Stomata means guard cells and subsidiary cells. Guard cells and subsidiary cells are also modified epidermal cells. Is this clear? In root, epidermis is called, what is the name? Epiblema or rhizodermis or piliferous layer. Okay. In root, unicellular hairs are modified epidermal cells. Okay, bus. Then where you find? Then in some grasses, in some monocot, for example, grasses, what you find? Motor cell or bulliform cells are found, which are modified epidermal cells, and they prevent excessive loss of water by allowing the leaf to get curved in one direction. বুঝি পাইছা? নাই পোৱা। ধৰা, this is a leaf. In grass, what type of leaf is present? Isobilateral or dorsiventral? Isobilateral leaf মানে কি? It is flat. It is like this, and one side receives light. It is upper side, and there is another side which do not receive light. So that is in the lower surface. So here two distinct type you can find: upper side, lower side. But if the leaf is like this, oblique, then what you find? Both the side will receive sunlight. Is this clear? If the leaf is receiving sunlight in both the side, then what will happen? Under that condition, if sunlight is excess, then there will be excessive loss of water. And in such a leaf, you'll find number of stomata are also equally distributed in both the surface. Under that condition, what you find that in its upper surface, no, adaxial, yes. So what you find in its adaxial surface, there will be presence of some larger cells. So like this, these are bulliform cells. Okay, so these are some larger cells which are present, and say these are normal epidermal cells. These are normal epidermal cells. Now what happens here? In this side also you will find these are some cells. These cells are larger than the normal. So what happens? These are the normal cells. Now along with these normal cells, when a large cell is present, so automatically during excessive sunlight, this large cell will lose maximum water. Okay, so when the large cell loses maximum water, then what will happen? In these cells, we are getting maximum what we maximum, there will be maximum water loss. When there will be maximum water loss, you will find these cells will shrink. Is that clear? These cells, they will shrink and they will get curved in one direction. Is this clear? They will get curved in one direction. কথাটো বুঝি পাইছানে? So when it gets curved in one direction, because they have lost water, so they will shrink, and as a result, it will get curved in one direction. So as a result, what will happen? Ultimately, loss of water will be less. So this is the role of bulliform cells or motor cell. কথাটো বুঝি পালা? হেদায়ত যদি বুঝি পাইছা না কথাখিনি?
স্যার হয়
এইটো
স্যার অলপ অলপ
হালুক সংশ্লেষণ যে কয় এইটো
কি
হালুক সংশ্লেষণ
আলোক সংশ্লেষণ কি?
পাতে
অ',
নিঃসরণ কৰে
অ', মানে তোমার কোয়েশ্চনটো কি?
লল
কোৱা জদিদ।
এইটো আগত যেটো কৈছিলে অলপ আগতে এইটো ডায়াগ্ৰাম আঁকি যে বুজে
এইটো যেতিয়া
হয়
তোমাৰ হালক সংশ্লেষণৰ কথা কোৱা নাই মই কৈছো ট্ৰেন্সপিৰেশন, যেতিয়া পানীখিনি ওলাই যায় নহয়, ট্ৰেন্সপিৰেশন হয়, মনত আছে নাই? ভাপ হৈ পানীখিনি ওলাই যায় নহয় ষ্টমাটা দি,
হয়
এনেওতো চেলৰ পৰা
হয়
ওলাই যাব। তো যেতিয়া তোমাৰ খুব
হয়
বেছি সানলাইট থাকিব, বেছি যেতিয়া সানলাইট থাকিব তেতিয়া কি হ'ব? বেছি সানলাইট থাকিলে এই বেছি পানী ওলাই গুচি যাব। পানী
হয়
যেতিয়া বেছিকে ওলাই গুচি যাব, তেতিয়াহ'লে এইকেইটা চেল বেছি সোনকালে কি হ'ব?
শুকাই
শ্ৰিংক
যাব
হৈ যাব ন, শ্ৰিংক হৈ যাব। শ্ৰিংক হৈ গ'লে এইটো বেণ্ড হৈ যাব না নাই? এইটো এনেকে বেণ্ড হৈ যাব। কথাটো বুজি পাইছা?
হয়
এইটো যেতিয়া বেণ্ড হৈ যাব, তেতিয়াহ'লে আগতে এইটো লিফৰ দুইফালে সমানে পোহৰ পৰি আছিল। এতিয়া কি হ'ব? এইটো যেতিয়া বেণ্ড হৈ গ'ল, এনেকে বেণ্ড হওঁতে অকল এটা সাৰফেসত পোহৰ পৰিব, বেলেগ এটা সাৰফেসত পোহৰটো কমকৈ পৰিব। কথাটো বুজি পালা?
হয়
তেতিয়া তাৰ ওয়াটার লসটো কম হ'ব না নাই?
হয়
এই ওয়াটার লস কম হবলৈ এইকেইটা সেলে দায়ী। তো এইকেইটা সেলৰ নাম কি? মোটর সেল or বুলিফর্ম সেল। কথাটো বুজি পালা এতিয়া? মোটর
হয়
সেল
স্যার
or বুলিফর্ম সেল।
হয় স্যার বুঝি পাইছি
ঠিক আছে, এইখিনি একদম ইজি, ইমান টাফ নহয়। তো এইখিনি বস্তু আমি ডিসকাস কৰিলো, the role of motor cell or বুলিফর্ম সেল। আচ্ছা, এইটো হৈ গ'ল motor cell বুলিফর্ম আমি ডিসকাস কৰি ললো। So we have seen epidermal cells are modified, they get modified no in different organ, and they have different names also, and their function is also getting modified to some extent. So these are all epidermal cells. Now one more question. In monocot, in monocot, what happens? The guard cells are dumbbell shape. In monocot, the guard cells are dumbbell shaped, and in dicot, the guard cells are bean shaped. এখানে বুঝি পাইছা নে? এইটো কেতিয়াবা সুধে। In monocot, if I have to draw the stomata in monocot, then we have to draw it in this way. This is a dumbbell. This is this is another dumbbell, and this is stomata. And what exactly happens here? You'll find this cell is thicker in this side, and in this side this one is thicker. যদি thicker হয়, plus point কি? এটা যদি থিকার হয়, এটা যদি থিকার হয়, প্লাস পয়েন্ট টু কি এখানে বেসিকে মানে shrink when the cell will get will swell up, then what will happen, this side they will feel tension, and because of tension they will not shrink properly. So it is the cause. Now see here, this is guard cell and this is stomata. Remember, consider this point, this is guard cell, this is stomata. In stomata what you find, rest all the sides have thin wall, and in the inner wall this is thick wall. Okay, inner wall is thick wall and rest part is thin wall. So this structure looks like a dumbbell, no? Hello, this structure look like a dumbbell. Now check it here, if I draw the structure of a monocot, what you find, in monocot it is not the sorry, dicot, in dicot it is not the case, it is bean shaped. It is bean shaped. Okay, so if it is like this, then what will happen? Remember, in any guard cell, any stomata, anywhere you go, you'll find the inner wall is thicker. Inner wall is thicker than the outer wall. Mono thakibo, inner wall is thicker than the outer wall. Inner wall is thicker than the outer wall. Under that condition, what we find? It will be there. If I draw a subsidiary cell here, we can draw in this way. So these are subsidiary cells. Consider these are subsidiary cells. Okay, these are subsidiary cells. If I draw a subsidiary cell here, it will not be like that. It will be in this way. Okay, it will be in this way. I think this is clear. Concept to buji paisa to.
Yes.
So remember this point. In monocot, it is dumbbell shape. Guard cells are dumbbell shape. In dicot, the guard cell is kidney shaped or bean shaped, and inner wall of the guard cell is thicker, outer wall is thinner. So when the guard cell swells up, the inner wall, it will face a tension, and because of the tension it goes inward. Okay, another point you must remember, in the guard cell what you find, there is a band, alpha cellulosic fibrous band, and it runs radially, and because of this what happens, they also assist in opening of stomata. Is this clear? So this fibrous structure also help in opening of the stomata. I think this is clear.
Yes, sir.
Next is which tissue?
Ground tissue.
Ground tissue কি কি পড়ে? গ্রাউন্ড টিস্যুটো একদম ধুনীয়াকে মই এটা পিকচাৰ দেখাই দিওঁ, এনচিআৰটিৰ পিকচাৰে দেখাই দিম ৰবা, তেতিয়া একদম ক্লিয়াৰ হৈ যাব, গোটেই এনাটমিটোৱে ক্লিয়াৰ হৈ যাব। এক মিনিট ৰবা, মই উলিয়াই লৈছো। Dicot stem. हाँ ठीक है इसको हम लोग बड़ा कैसे करेंगे रे बाबा खुद भी लगाया okay down. Is it visible? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now check it here. If we draw this diagram, what you can say? What you can say? See, this is a dicot stem. We have made a cut in transverse section. And after transverse section, we have got this structure. And this section, say this much portion, up to this much we have considered. Okay. And here we have shown. So only this much portion we have shown here. So what you can find here? Say this is epidermis. Epidermis is unicellular or multicellular? Not epidermis, hairs, trichomes. Trichomes are unicellular or multicellular?
Say unicellular.
Trichomes are multicellular, remember. Stem hairs are usually multicellular. In some cases, you may find they are unicellular also, but mainly these are multicellular. Can you remember? Remember this point. Epidermal hairs are generally multicellular. Okay. Some may be unicellular also, but mainly multicellular. Next point you check. In next point, next layer is what? This is epidermis. Next to epidermis, this is what? Next layer is called hypodermis. Say it is given here, hypodermis. And this hypodermis is parenchymatous. In dicot stem, what you find? The hypodermis is made up of parenchyma. Can you remember? Okay. Here you can write, somewhere you can write here, this is hypodermis. Okay, this is hypodermis. Next is given parenchyma. So what is that parenchyma? That is nothing but cortex, general cortex. Okay, this is general cortex. This is hypodermis. After general cortex, this is endodermis. Now always remember, hypodermis, general cortex, and endodermis. These three are together known as cortex. Right? Is this clear? These three are together known as cortex. So you can say these three are together known as cortex. So cortex is divided into hypodermis, general cortex, and endodermis. Can you remember? Hello. And from endodermis, next is pericycle. Pericycle, see, phloem, cambium, metaxylem, protoxylem. This much portion forms what? This much portion form vascular bundle. Okay, this much portion forms vascular bundle, remember. And below vascular bundle, this is pith region. Now consider pericycle, from pericycle up to pith. This whole portion we called as, what is the term? Who can tell me? Hello. This is called stele. Is this clear? The whole portion is called stele. That means broadly I say this is epidermis, this is cortex, and this is stele. right? Can you remember? Hello.
Yes,
Easy.
sir.
Very easy, no?
Yes, sir.
Very easy. It took epidermis, then cortex and stele. Tinita type. Stele, inside stele we find three part: pericycle, vascular bundle, pith. Okay, pericycle, vascular bundle, pith. In vascular bundle we find phloem, cambium, xylem. In xylem you can find protoxylem, metaxylem, that you know. So phloem, cambium, xylem, again three part. So this is very simple. Now you can remember. See, epidermis, cortex, stele. Okay, then in epidermis it is only epidermis, but cortex has three part: hypodermis, general cortex, endodermis, right? Hypodermis, general cortex, endodermis. And then we find stele has three part: pericycle, vascular bundle, pith, right? So vascular bundle has three part: phloem, cambium, xylem. And xylem may be protoxylem or metaxylem. Generally in stem, metaxylem remains outside and protoxylem towards center. Ikini monot thakibone? Sroyona, can you hear me? Sroyona,
Yes, sir.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You will reply very less. किसी दूसरा काम में बिजी हो क्या?
No, sir.
Reply spontaneously. Nandita,
Yes, sir.
up to this much, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Tell me the different layers very fast. Outermost is?
Epidermis,
Next.
cortex,
Then?
still,
Stele. And now cortex has how many part?
three parts.
Ki naam ki?
Hyper, hypodermis,
Very good.
general cortex, endodermis.
Yes. Very good. Hypodermis, general cortex, endodermis. Next, stele has three part. What are the names?
Pericycle, vascular bundle, and pith.
And the vascular bundle has three part.
Phloem, cambium, and xylem.
Phloem remains outer side or xylem remains in outer side?
Phloem.
Why?
Uh,
Why xylem remains outer side? Inner side? If xylem remains in outer side, is there any problem? See, if xylem remains outer side, if there is any cut and injury, then non-stop water will come out and then pressure will fall and water will not go to the tip of the leaf. Under that condition, the plant will die immediately. So because of small injury also, the plant may die. But if phloem remains outer side and xylem remains at the center, xylem will be more protected. Okay, that's why you find xylem remains toward the center, right? Can you remember?
yes, sir.
Xylem is like artery of our body. In our body, artery remains in the outer side or inner side?
Sir, inner side.
Inner side. You have seen, no? When heroine commits suicide, she needs to cut her artery. She cannot cut a vein. Why? If she cut a vein, then she has to cut repeatedly. Otherwise, she cannot die. Check it here. If she cut a vein, then what will happen? Blood will ooze out. Again, clotting factor will work and it will seal this. Again, she has to make cut. So it will be very difficult to die. So under that condition, she has to find out artery, because artery is hidden only at certain point in our body. We can touch the artery. Okay. And we can feel the pulse. Is that clear? And in artery, pressure is very high. So if by chance artery cuts, blood will ooze out in this way. Is this clear? So same thing, if artery gets injured, then maximum loss of blood will occur and person may die. That's why it is very dangerous and condition. So it is needed to prevent it immediately. And here you see in this particular case what happens. The xylem remains in the center, okay, at the center. and phloem is towards periphery. Okay, and next part we'll discuss. Next we'll discuss vascular bundle. From vascular bundle onward we'll discuss. So it is very simple. Okay, then thank you everybody. Time is up. So in next class I'll try to finish this chapter on next
Thank
Friday. Okay, okay, thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bipasha.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Jadid.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Hedayat.
Mm, yes.